Hey guys, I'm Pastor Daniel here at Spirit Move Church. Pastor Liberty wanted me to share a dream I had last Saturday night, and I actually got the interpretation for it on Sunday during worship. So the dream started, and I was backstage at a stadium. It was like the type of stadium where people would have a concert. And on stage was the government, the president, the first lady, and a bunch of people that have power in the government. And I was backstage with a concert band. And where the backstage was, it's like the main stage protruded into the backstage area, like you could physically touch the stage from backstage. And while the Congress and governmental people were on stage, I turned around and I looked at the concert band while they were practicing, and I said, back when I was younger and we used to play on this stage with my band, if we played loud enough, we could shake the stage. And I said, I wonder if we can still shake the stage. And I turned around, and with both my hands, I hit the edge of the stage, and it shook. And when we did this, or when I did that, the first lady on the stage turned around and looked at the backstage area. And everybody in the concert band and I knew that we needed to hide and get out of sight because I just shook the stage and the government was on the stage and they're going to be very upset. And so we all hid, and I hid under the edge of the stage. Well, she comes back into the backstage area, and she looks around and doesn't see any of us. And assuming she's alone, she pulls a bag out of her pocket, which looks like it has some sort of pills or medication in it. And she walks into the bathroom, sets it on the counter, and leaves, goes back on stage, and continues doing what she's doing. Well, I'm the only one that saw her pull the bag out of her pocket, and being curious, I go back into the bathroom where she left them to see what they are. And it turns out that it was a bag of poison. It was drugs intended to kill the president. And so I grab the bag, knowing that I have to report it, and I go and I try to find somebody to report it to. Well, in the process, I get caught holding the bag. And the people that caught me wouldn't let me explain why I had the bag. They assumed that they were mine and that I intended to kill the president, and so the blame got put on me. Well, in the process, they take me in and they try to file paperwork to accuse me of being the one to try to poison the president. But the printer is unable to print the documents because it is not the right type of printer to do so. And so they have no documented proof that I'm the one who is trying to poison the president. Well, at the end of the dream, the very, very last scene of the dream is the guy that was on stage who was supposed to be the president. He was an older white male. He looks at me while the Secret Service is shoving him into his limo, trying to get him away, and he looks completely confused and scared. He had no idea what was going on. Well, that's the dream. Now, I woke up, and as you guys can think, I was completely confused. I had no idea what the dream meant. Well, during worship, while I was playing on the drums, we were having a flowing in the spirit moment, and God revealed to me the interpretation. So the band represents the church. And we were behind the stage. We were no longer on the stage. The stage was occupied by the government. And back in the day, when the church was on the stage, when we played loud enough, we could shake the foundation. We could shake the stage. Well, you see, I feel like me turning around and hitting the stage with my hands to test and see if we could still shake the stage was me prophesying over America that our prayers are making something, that they are having an effect. When I hit the stage, it represented our prayers hitting the stage in which the government thinks it has a hold of. And when the government feels something opposing them, they do not like it. And I feel like the First Lady, when she came to look for us, didn't necessarily represent the actual First Lady of the president, but she represented the Democratic Party. They didn't like that we were opposing them, and they didn't like that we were shaking the stage with our prayers. So she came back to try to face us. But we hid from her and stayed out of sight. And she, not knowing that we were still there, she left evidence pointing herself towards the assassination of their very own president. And see, I feel like those pills weren't necessarily intended to kill the president, but they were there intended to end his presidency. You see, when I went and they were trying to file documents to try to prove that I was the one that was trying to poison the president, they couldn't. The printer wasn't working. It's because the Democrats are not going to be able to prove or document that us Christians, the Republican Party, are the ones responsible for the president losing his throne. And I'm not talking about Donald Trump. This president was not Donald Trump. It was another old white male. And when I say that, I don't mean Joe Biden. I don't know who it represented. It just represented our current president. And I feel like if God wanted me to see it as Donald Trump, he would have used Donald Trump. And then in the end of the dream, we see the president looking at me confused and afraid. And he looks at me, and the look in his eyes was a look of help me. I don't know what's going on. And I feel like that represented the person who is currently on the podium, who currently is being held as president. When he's removed off the podium, he's not going to know why. He doesn't know who was fighting against him and who was fighting for him. All he knows is that he needs to hide. And I feel like the First Lady, being the one that had the drugs, he has no idea that his own Democratic Party is the one that's trying to end his presidency, is the one that's trying to take him off the very podium that they gave him. That was the dream. Just remember, guys, God has a purpose in everything he does. Even if it seems like stuff isn't going our way, no matter how crazy it seems, God always has a reason. And I feel like this dream pretty much shows what's happening. Our prayers are making a move, they're shaking the stage, the government doesn't like it, and the Democrats are trying to blame it on us. Even though they're the ones behind all of it and they're planning to do so, they're planning to remove the presidency from the very person they're trying to put behind the podium. So just remember, keep your faith. God has a purpose. He has a reason to do all of this. And just remember, keep praying, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.